Finally, we made it. This is the last significant section of this class. This is what this whole course is leading up to, performing better on test day. I've used these strategies without fail for the SAT, the MCAT, and Step 1, and these are the most important exams I've taken in my entire life. And I will use these strategies for my future big exams. I've tweaked a few of them over the years, added a few, subtracted a few, and developed a master list of 12 items. These 12 strategies have allowed me to perform better than I ever thought possible on exam day. Practice is easily one of the best ways to perform better on exam day. And why is that so important? When you practice exactly like exam day, you prepare yourself for that day. Specifically, it would help to practice everything down to a T for exam day sometime before exam day. What does that mean? Well, that means wake up the same time you would on test day. Get dressed and prepared as you would on test day. What clothes will you wear? Eat what you eat and drink what you drink on test day. Walk, drive, bus, or train to where your test location will be. And if you can, try and take the test around or near that location. If you can't, come back home or wherever you usually study. And again, we're taking this practice test in that location. You should have no access to your phone like you would on test day. If you like to wear earbuds, you should wear earbuds on test day. I think you get the picture here. Really mimic test day exactly. Using this strategy reduced my stress immensely when I would actually show up to the exam. So try and mimic test day at least once before exam day. What should we do the day before exam day? Well, the thing I would do is try to exercise outside. We've talked about this a bunch, right? But I would do 30 minutes of outside exercise time. I think that's the best. What you could also do is 30 minutes of inside exercise and then 30 minutes of an outside walk, maybe in nature, but 30 minutes of outside exercise time is the best. The next thing I would do is I would eat relatively healthy the day before the exam. We want to minimize variability on test day. Depending on your individual body, food can take between 30 and 50 hours to move throughout your body completely. What if we eat something new the day before and it doesn't agree with us? So we stay up all night, or God forbid, we just get food poisoning. Or it makes us queasy during the test. Those would be the worst possible outcomes. Just eat what you would typically eat on a typical day. Don't overthink it. I wouldn't try scallops for like the first time ever the day before your exam. That might not end well. The next thing is sleep. You need to get a good night's sleep. If you've watched this entire frickin' class and you haven't realized that you need to sleep well to do well on test day, I don't know what you're doing. But sleep well, that's important. Okay, so now you're sleeping well. What are we gonna do on test day? So on test day, we wanna eat breakfast. And this is sneakily important, right? Remember we talked about food and those glycemic index curves. Again, I want to come back to that glycemic index curve. We don't want to go for high glycemic index foods. We want to aim for those low glycemic index foods. So what do I recommend? Oatmeal's excellent, eggs excellent, breakfast meat, avocado, some fruit. Avoid cereal, pancakes, waffles, all the stuff we talked about earlier to avoid. On test day, you want to stay hydrated. Drink enough water for you. Depending on how well you can control your bladder, I would drink 2 large glasses of water in the morning. That should be sufficient. The next thing I would do is arrive 30 minutes early to your exam. Anxiety on the morning of the test is expected. However, we want to do everything we can to reduce that anxiety to a manageable level. Arriving late to the testing center or your lecture hall could make you unable to take your test or have less time to take the test, or the most likely scenario, just stress you out extra. The extra stress is not what's needed on test day. Remember, this is probably going to be a stressful day already. During the exam, we also want to maintain good posture. In one study out of San Francisco, 125 students were asked to do mental math. Half of the class had to sit erect, while the other half sat slouched. The students who sat erect rated the test on average a 4.9 difficulty out of 10, while the slouched students rated the test on average a 6.2 difficulty out of 10. Now, we can't interpret performance from this study, but we can definitely see how confidence is correlated to posture. I'm creating this link between posture and performance, but I could not find any direct evidence relating posture and performance. But what's the harm? Try it out. Try these postures and see what you think, especially if you suffer from test anxiety. At the end of a large section or end of working for an hour, I close my eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And while I'm doing this, I just focus on the feeling of my breaths going in and out. And I meditate on kind of everything going on around me. Seriously, try this at least once. If anything, it can calm some nerves and refocus you during a challenging exam. Next, use all given breaks and time. I learned this early in high school. During a history exam, I remember I had finished about 30 minutes early and was sitting doodling on a piece of paper in the classroom. And one student went up to the teacher and quietly asked the question. And the question, I don't know what it was, but the teacher scowled. And he looked at the test, then announced to the class, "Okay guys, for question number 8, I want you to remember what we talked about when we were learning about the Revolutionary War, blah, 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 blah." And then he proceeded to answer the frickin' question, but I had already handed in my test. From that moment on, I vowed to never, ever, ever turn my test in early. I would stay with my test to the very end, no matter what. Another reason to use the whole time is that sometimes answers will pop into your head. Occasionally, I'll finish a test early, like 30 minutes early, and I've already reviewed all the questions, and I'll just sit there and think about tough questions. Maybe one will pop in my head, maybe it won't, but I'll tell you, when I'm sitting there and a question answer pops into my head, boy, am I so glad I waited. When you're done with the test, you are done with the test. So please relax afterward. You did it. Well done. Now, this tip will not improve your exam performance, but it will improve your mental well-being. Focusing on the exam, what you answered wrong or right, looking up correct answers on the internet, talking to friends about it is an easy trap to fall into. I know, because I fall into that trap all the time. But could you please just not do that? Instead, reward yourself for all of your hard work. Go out with friends, grab a milkshake, watch a movie, play video games. Just please chill out. Don't obsess, have recess. You did it.